Do it to my computer. Okay. All right. Everybody's coming now. All right, everybody. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. It's 9:02. I think everybody's coming over from the other call. But my name is Kim Moore. I'm excited to host this call. We're going to explore what happens when we support the body with science. LEMD is a modern wellness company redefining what it means to look and feel your best from the inside out. They combine cutting-edge science with personalized prescription-grade solutions. Think peptides, longevity therapies, optimizing our metabolisms, and skin health. All Everything is prescribed through board certified providers and delivered right to your door. LEMD is where high performance meets convenience and confidence, empowering people to take control of their wellness journey with medical guidance that actually works. So today you're going to hear some stories from Jen and Angelina, and I'll share a little bit about my story as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about how easy it is to get started. And they're going to share what tools they're using. And then we'll do some questions and answers. So we can go ahead and get started. I'll share a little bit about myself. Um, my name is Kim, and I started my peptide journey back in, I will say I started in November. So, a little bit about my story is I turned 40, and I don't know what happened. I also had COVID about the same time, so I'm not sure if it was a product of COVID or just turning 40 and perimenopause, but it was kind of like the wheels started falling off the bus. Things started happening slowly. I did have long COVID, so I had a ton of brain fog and just really felt like I couldn't like sit down and do work. I was really struggling just with daily tasks and just feeling like myself. And it went on for quite honestly, like months. I would say like 6 months. And I was also having digestive issues that started about this time as well. So terrible gas that would start at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon every single day, and it would go all the way until like I would wake up the next day. And stopped sleeping through the night. I was getting sick all the time. And it was just kind of like one thing after another. I ended up losing my cycle as well. So I went and worked with my OBGYN who put me on birth control. And that just exacerbated everything, made everything worse. I felt terrible. So I came off that and hired a nutritional coach. I've always lifted weights and been very into health and wellness. And so I was like, well, let me find a coach that's more holistic, that kind of bridges the coaching aspect of what I do with functional medicine. Hired her, did some very strict diets and protocols, and she got me feeling a little bit better. I got my cycle back. I wasn't getting sick as much and did pretty good for a few months. But then slowly, when I went back to normal life, everything kind of came back again. I sought out other doctors, gastroenterologists, I was digestive specialists, and just my regular PCP who did so much testing, everything you can possibly think of, even genetic testing and stool testing. Found out my pancreas wasn't producing enough lipase, so got on that. Thought maybe I had pancreatitis, wasn't that? But I did have chronic constipation, and really no one could put a finger on what was causing all these issues for me. He did tell me, the last doctor I worked with, he was like, I can't help you. I can give you a prescription. It will help subdue your symptoms. But beyond that, I don't know how to help you, and you need a dietitian. And so I knew it wasn't the food because I was already doing all the things. So I did hire a functional doctor. But before that, I tore my ACL. And with that surgery, I gained about 15 pounds. And prior to that, I had felt like I was constantly at war with just my body, just to maintain my weight. My weight just wanted to go up and up and up. And I was dealing with this crazy inflammation that was just really debilitating. I was feeling it in my hands, and it was just really awful. And so I hired the functional doctor, worked with him after I recovered. It was a few months after I tore my ACL, and um, did a whole year with him. And I felt better. I felt really good. My labs were kind of messy, had autoimmune markers, wasn't absorbing nutrients, very inflamed, high cortisol, just all the things, high cholesterol. And when we repulled my labs 8 months later, I felt a lot better, but my labs were literally identical. Like nothing had changed. And he was kind of like, oh, wow, that's like crazy. Like nothing is better. And so I was just kind of like, this is my life. And he was like, well, we should do the carnivore diet now. And I'm like, I can't do any more diets. I have spent the last 3 years trying different diets and eliminating food to try to see like what is causing all this. And it was a joke. Like I couldn't go to my parents' house for dinner. My mom was like, well, I don't know how to cook for you. What are you even eating this week? Like, are you eating dairy, onions? Like I would cut out all the things. And so he was like, well, if you don't want to do like another diet, we could look at a GLP-1 and microdosing. My counterparts are seeing a lot of success. I haven't really put many people on it, but it's something to consider because it does reduce inflammation. I thought he was insane. I immediately shut him out and I said, no way. This is crazy. I should be able to heal with food. Um, so I did. I went on a diet, another one, lost 4 pounds in 4 months, went to Italy, was sick the whole trip, felt terrible there, came back and was just totally fed up. And I'm like, got really into researching the peptides. And I learned a lot during my research. And in November, I decided to give it a go. So I started microdosing right before Thanksgiving. And I will tell you, by Thanksgiving, which was about 2 weeks later, I had no more gas, no more inflammation. I was going to the restroom regularly, regular bowel movements, and my brain was clear and I was just feeling so much better. I also noticed that my mood was better. I wasn't as like quick to fly off the handle or as moody. By Christmas, I was down 8 pounds and I was in a caloric deficit, not a big one. I was eating like 1650 to 1700 calories. And by April, I had lost 15 pounds and I have felt the best I felt in a really, really long time. My brain was working. I could sit down and do tasks again. Just my sleep was better. So funny. I was like cleaning my nightside table and I was like, oh, melatonin. I used to have to take that every night to go to bed. I stopped taking that. I was able to more easily fall asleep. And I really attribute it to the microdosing. That was the only thing I changed. And it was the easiest I've lost weight in years. And not only that, I just everything in my whole world just got better in the way I felt. And I actually had labs done um, just this past September, so like a month ago. And my labs, when I tell you they were so good, I compared them to my optimal labs with my functional doctor. I had not one thing out of line. My cholesterol was so good. I was absorbing all my nutrients, my B's, my D's, my iron, like everything was just amazing. And so for me, microdosing has been really life-changing. I've now introduced things like glutathione for detox, and I've used BPC 157 and TB 500 to accelerate healing with my ACL and meniscus repair. And I just feel like with everything I add, it's just I can see a piece of myself just getting a little bit better and my body just working even more optimally. And so now I take a very low dose, microdose, very low, and I just kind of maintain where I'm at. I am looking probably in the future, near future, to go back into a deficit now that my body is working so optimally, and lose a little bit more fat, considering I do lift a lot of weights and stuff. But it's just been a great experience. So that is my story. I'm going to pass it over to Angelina now, to share her story. Angelina, do you want to go ahead and share?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to. Hi, everyone. Angelina Smith. My journey started, it'll be almost 2 years ago. It started in January of 2024. I started out prior to me starting any journey. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I was diagnosed with PCOS. I wasn't feeling good, kind of all the same things Kim had talked about, except I'm a little bit older than Kim. So I wasn't entering my 40s. I'm entering in, I'm inching towards the 50s. Anyways, so I had decided since my doctors weren't really helping me do anything, even when I got diagnosed with the Hashimoto's, my doctor basically said, "Oh, we'll just take a look at that again in 6 months, even though it shows that there's an issue with your thyroid." So once I heard that, I found a functional doctor, and in January of 24, I was at the heaviest weight that I had been ever, even with kids or no kids. And so I went to the functional doctor and started talking to her about what else could I do. Um, she took some labs for me, which showed the PCOS, and she suggested, hey, why don't you try a GLP-1, and let's see how that goes, along with hormone therapy. So she gave me testosterone pellets. I started the GLP-1 and I have not looked back since then. I think the biggest impact for me is that the if you if I were to show you pictures from 2 years ago, you would see in my face the swelling alone, the inflammation alone has completely disappeared. It has been a godsend. I have two other really great stories in my daughter. My daughter started on it a year ago now, and she has lost 60 pounds. For myself, I lost 43 pounds. And it has been just life changing. It's one of those things where you kind of go, why am I not sharing this with everybody who, comes to you and says, oh, I have this ailment, or I'm tired, or I can't figure out what's going on, or I'm in the change, I'm in the life change, and I can't seem to find the right path for me. And so I have I'm really glad that I started the GLP-1. And while I'm almost 2 years since I started it, what I've discovered here in the last 3 months is LEMD. And I have discovered the other peptides that go along with the GLP-1, which I have been most excited about, the GHK, the BPC 157. I had hip surgery back in May. I didn't gain any weight, even though I had to be off my feet for 6 weeks because I still had the GLP-1 working on my side. The tesamorelin, ipamorelin, oh my God, I wish I would have known about that one when I started on the GLP-1. And I've only recently discovered it. And so I've been really happy with that one. But I mean, overall, like, if you are feeling any of the things that Kim or I are speaking about, this is definitely a route that you can say yes to and try, and it's not going to hurt you. So that's a little bit about me.
Love it. Thank you, Angelina. All right, Jen, you're up.
Okay, hi. I'm Jen Sanchez, and I started GLP-1s, I guess, about a little over a year ago. And prior to that, I became a faster way to fat loss coach. And I guess if you don't know what that is, I became certified to coach women in working out, lifting weights, and really focusing on their nutrition. That was the main part of it, was to focus on nutrition properly paired with strategic workouts to lose the fat, gain the muscle, and do all the things. So I did that for 2 years, and I had great success with it. I'm not going to lie. I tracked my macros. I learned what my body needed to fuel it properly, and I was lifting heavy weights, and I was doing all the things, and it was great. And at the same time, around about, I guess, a year and a half ago, my niece said she was going to start a GLP-1. And I was like, I don't know why you're doing that. Like, I could coach you on how to eat properly. I could do all those things with you. You're crazy. This is ridiculous. And then I hit like a plateau, right? Like I was like, all right, I know I had like another 10 pounds to lose, or I wanted to lose another 10 pounds. And I was also working with a trainer because I had certain strength goals that I wanted to hit, and I wanted to just kind of hone in on my strength. So I was talking at the gym, and I was talking to a nutritionist there, and they were like, well, if we raise this macro and we lower this macro and we do this and we do that, and I'm like, I am 53 years old. I don't have time to raise this and lower this and do this. And at the same time, Kim is my neighbor. And I know Kim, and I know that she always tracked her food, always paid attention, worked out like I did. And before all this, I was doing like those box gyms or whatever. And I knew she was doing all the things. And then I saw that she became associated with Ellie. And I called her and I said, what are you doing? And I thought she was crazy. But then I was like, well, let me see. So I still didn't want to give into a GLP-1. I was like, you know what? Let me just put my big toe in the little peptide pool and I'll try NAD. And I was afraid to do an injection. I was like, I don't need to do an injection. That's crazy. I'll just do NAD and I'll do a nasal spray. So I do that and I feel better. I definitely feel my skin is glowing a little bit more. I have a little bit more energy. Brain fog is gone. And I'm like, huh, must be something to this. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do NAD in a shot and I'll try the shot. And I did that. And I was like, oh yeah, all right. I see what's happening here. This is even better. So however I felt on NAD with the nasal spray, I felt that much better on the shot. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give in. I'm going to do a GLP-1. And that is where everything in my life changed incredibly. So I didn't even realize I had gastro issues. I just thought that's who I was. I was like Kim every day at like 3 o'clock. I was popping Gas X. And if I wasn't popping Gas X, I was popping Imodium AD because it didn't matter what I ate. It didn't matter if I cut out dairy, I cut out gluten, I limited this, I did that. It didn't matter what I did. I still had issues. And it just thought that that's who I was. But it was getting to the point where it was almost being debilitating of if I eat now and I get in the car, then I might have to go to the bathroom. And then where's the bathroom? And where do I? It was becoming like a game. And I tried a GLP-1. I really tried the GLP-1 GIP, so tirzepatide. And within a week or two, everything, all my gastro issues were gone. So for that reason, I probably will never stop a GLP-1 because I never want to go back there. But I felt infinitely better. My inflammation was down. And when you start feeling so much better, you start doing better, right? So I was always doing the right eating and the right working out, but there's just the weight, and it's not even the weight of the real weight of your body. It's just the weight of feeling better is like you don't worry about that anymore. You don't worry about what you're going to eat and how it's going to affect you, and you just feel better. And then that's it. Then I was like on the track and I was going full steam ahead. I've pretty much tried all the peptides that are out there. Personally, I think Samoralin has helped me the best. I had a goal in January to do one pull-up. That was it. I just wanted to do one pull-up. I didn't think it was that much of a big deal. Turns out it is a big deal. And I worked and I worked, and then I incorporated Samoralin. And I have to tell you, when I did that, my workouts just got better. And well, now I could do two
Yay.
pull-ups. So yay
Yay.
for me. But that has been a game changer. So if I put them in the order of how it's affected my life, I would say a GLP-1. I would then say Samoralin, which is excellent. I mean, I've tried them all. So if you have any questions, GHKCU, I love BPC 157, Tessa, IPA, NAD. Yeah, I love them all. And I cycle through them, but it's really a GLP-1, Samoralin, and then NAD. And it is just life changing. And once you start feeling better, just everything just becomes lighter. Not only your body, but like your whole mood and your whole interaction. And just even wearing clothes is just so much better. And just sitting on the couch and folding your legs and not being, and I do this all the time. And I know it's so silly, but I go like this with my hands because they just feel so much less puffy. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but they just do. Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's my story.
I love it. Yay. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. And so some of you may be wondering, how to get started and to know a little bit more about LEMD and the process. And so it's really easy. I encourage everybody who came here today, and we'll turn it over to some questions here in a minute, but I encourage everybody who came here today to go and, reach out to the person that invited you and they can point you in the direction of how to order. But it's super simple. You'll pick the product that you want and you just add it to your cart. You go through the checkout process. During that checkout process, you'll be asked to fill out a medical history questionnaire, which will be submitted to the doctor when you do check out. From that point on, it will go to the doctor for review. And if you're in a state that requires you to have a virtual visit, that will be scheduled. If you're not, it'll get reviewed by the provider. If there's no red flags or questions that they have, they'll submit it straight to the pharmacy. It comes straight to your house in 2 to 15 days with everything that you need to start your journey. Comes with all 3 months of the medication if you're on a GLP, or 2 months if you're on a longevity product. Comes with all your alcohol wipes and the syringes. You do have a patient portal where you get 24/7 access to a doctor, so you can message them. There's a chat feature in there. And then we have a ton of resources for you. We have a community on Facebook as well that is wonderful. And so I will say the support at Ellie goes, far just beyond what is provided, just even on the Ellie website, which is full of tons of great information. So I highly recommend you go and just read all the info that they have provided for us on the website. And so before I move on, I just want to turn it over to the group to see if anybody has any questions that they would like us to answer or any thoughts. Let me see what people put here. Okay, we got some coming in. Yes, we will post the recordings. They typically go in the Team Joy Facebook, I believe, but then also you can reach out to the person who invited you and they will send you the link. And so we've got a question here too about what peptide helps with metabolism and inflammation besides a GLP-1. I would say probably either like one of the Sermorelin or Tesamorelin and Ipamorelin, although Tesamorelin and Ipamorelin can cause inflammation in the beginning and you'll hold some water. But probably Sermorelin or NAD, and even your BPC 157, TB 500 can help with inflammation. But metabolism is probably going to be more NAD and Sermorelin. And then Christy, let's see if I can unmute you because I see you have your hand up.
Hi, thank you
Oh,
so
there you go.
much.
Yep.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. How are
I
you?
I'm great. I just started and I think that everyone should, take everything with a grain of rice. Everybody's experience is completely different. I've had friends that have been doing this for like over a year, and they've been sharing and sharing and sharing with me, and I've been so opposed to like I'm not doing no shot. I'm gonna do this myself. I'm 42 years old. On it's been like mind blowing how much our bodies changed during that time. Like the whole transition has knocked me off my feet, and I'm like, what's that? What does this mean? Um, and I think we're in an era or in a time where we're taking charge of our health. We're taking control of what we put in our bodies and what we do. And doctors should be really afraid at this moment. Like your general PCP, like if you're not coming to the table with more than just referring me to a specialist, like what do I need you for? So telehealth is really the way to go. I can take my own
Mhm.
blood pressure at home. I can go and order my own blood work. So I think like this opportunity, it has just opened up my eyes. And my friends have been telling me for the longest. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I can do it on my own. And unfortunately, I am at a point in my life that I can't do it on my own. Like, I do need the support. And I am so grateful for this community that has opened up my eyes to what's possible and to the potential and has educated me to what these things are. Because honestly, ignorance is bliss, and we don't know what we don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank you guys so much for all this information that you're sharing with us because otherwise we would never know.
No, I
So I
love
just wanted
that.
to say that.
Yes, I
Thank you.
love that. Thank you for saying that. Like seriously pulls at my heartstrings because when I think back to my struggle for 3 years and like I mean, I remember waking up and getting on the scale and then the whole day was like ruined and I would feel so defeated and like it affected me on such a high level that until I kind of was able to use the peptides and get that leg up and see when everything started working, like how much I didn't realize how much it was affecting me. And it was giving me anxiety, like felt bad about myself, like everything. And so I agree. I think, we have these tools, we should use them. And I love sharing my journey with people because it's crazy. I was so embarrassed to do so. And I come to find out there's so many people just like me, and we don't have to struggle. So I totally love that.
Yeah, I think I'll just, as a faster way to fat loss coach, I had a hard time. It took me a while to admit that this is what I was doing. And now come to find out, there's a lot of faster way coaches that have reached out to me and Kim about how they can incorporate this into their protocol and help their clients hit a plateau or just feel better. And it's just a tool. That's all it is a tool. Whatever peptide you're using, it's just a tool to help you get where you want to go. It's just like, protein powder if you need a little bit extra protein during the day. It's collagen, it's creatine, it's a hydration packet. It's just another tool in the toolbox to help you to get to where you want to go. Um, anyway, I think it's great too. And I also think with the GLP-1, people are always so afraid of the side effects. But what's great about Ellie and the compounding, you draw the dosage based on what they tell you to. But if that dosage doesn't work for you, then don't do that dosage. Go a little bit lower. If that's where you feel good, then stay where you are. You don't need to titrate up. You don't need to go these higher doses. You don't need to do any of that. You just need to get in touch with your body, feel how you feel, and then let the peptides do what they do for you and just help you move along and where you want to go.
Awesome. And now I'm going to answer a couple more questions. I see we've got one about stubborn, rounded, bloated belly. So anything that burns visceral fat, so your Sermorelin really works for visceral fat, and your Tesamorelin, Ipamorelin works for that as well. Um, if it is, it could also be like, I don't know, it could be SIBO or something. I'm not a doctor, but that might be something to look into if you feel like that could be. But I would say if you feel like it's visceral fat, like stubborn belly fat, those are your peptides. And also BPC is really good for gut health too. So it helps repair the gut lining. So I would say the BPC 157, TB 500 is great for that as well. Yes, and the GLP-1. My bloating and my stomach, like I said, I would be almost looking pregnant by the end of the day, but the GLP-1s have helped with that as well. And then I see one about what peptides do you recommend if you're on tirzepatide and you've hit a plateau. I would say NAD is a great one to add. It does give you a little bit of boost because it's increasing cellular energy, so you can get a boost in metabolism from 10 to 15%. So adding that one in. And then I would also say, which I know everybody hates to track, but maybe just give yourself a check, track your calories a couple days just to see where you're at. And if you're eating maybe too little, look at increasing the calories specifically in the protein and make sure you're getting hydrated and then stick with that for a little bit to help you get past that plateau. But Sermorelin would also be a good one to add in and just really hit the gym hard and watch the body fat kind of melt off. As far as timing, when you're taking GLP or NAD, morning or evening, I think it's everybody's different with this. I like to take my GLP-1 and my NAD in the morning. I typically have breakfast and then we'll inject. I do like to do my GLP-1 after I've eaten, and with my NAD, I also like to do it in the morning, typically before I go to the gym, because it does give me a little bit of an extra boost, and I do feel like I really fire on all cylinders that day after taking that. So I would definitely recommend that. And then how long after abdominal surgery should one wait? I would just ask your doctor. Every doctor is different. But typically it's not a long wait after having surgery that you can get back on it. And I think that's it. We're right on time. We did good. But I encourage everybody reach out to the person that sent you, get with them. I'm sure they can answer any of your questions, and we will have the recording ready to share tomorrow. And I want to wish you all a great evening and thank you for attending. Have a good night.
Thank you.